students, welcome to Bio 325, Local Fauna. Now, if you didn't know already, fauna means animals. So this class is discussing local wildlife. You're going to learn how to ID it. You're going to learn about the ecosystems here in the Midwest and in the Chicagoland area especially. And we're going to have a lot of fun, despite it being the weirdest semester on record. So let's start by going through all the basic first day things, the syllabus. I want to show you how to use the course website. I know that you're going to be getting a lot of these videos for each of your classes, so hopefully this one, everything's going to be pretty straightforward, but let's walk through it anyway. So let me share my screen and we will go through what the course website looks like. So hopefully here you can see this is the course homepage. You should have one announcement down here. Let me get my spotlight. You should have an announcement down here from me telling you to watch this video and welcoming you to the class. So the course homepage, all the course announcements will go here. I will use announcements to communicate with you weekly so that you have reminders of what's going on. So let's first go to content. This is going to be the tab you use the most often, where it has all of the information you need. So within our overview, you'll find the syllabus. That's also can be found here under syllabus, and you can download it. And then you'll have each week's or each module's information. So week 0 start here. This has the link to the video. It also has some of the paperwork that I'm going to come back to talk about in a minute, and our communication plan. All of this communication plan information is also in the syllabus, but you should read it anyways. And then for each week, you'll have a module, which we'll go in more detail through. Let's start with the syllabus. So like I said, my name's Dr. Ranke. I will be having regular office hours, and they'll be on Google Meets, and you'll access it through this link. So this is a hyperlink. You literally just click this, and it'll take you to the meeting room. Please be respectful if there's another student in the office hour meeting with me at the time. Leave and come back in a few minutes. I think I have it set up so that there's like a room that I admit you into, but I'm not sure. So if that doesn't work, then just come back when you can. But you are welcome to talk to me at any time about office hours or to set up an appointment some other time or contact me via email. I'm really open that way. So you already know the prerequisites. We're going to talk a little bit more about what hybrid actually means in this class in a second. Let me go through the course materials first. So the most important thing that you need to buy, you need to purchase, is your field notebook. I am not picky about what this notebook looks like. I have a link here to a waterproof brand, which is really nice. I don't use that brand typically because it doesn't write as well with pens, and I like to use pens. I use instead this notebook. This is just like, I think it's from Michael's. It's just an open blank notebook with a hard cover. And I really recommend trying to have a hard cover if you want, because it's easier to write in outside, right? You can just pop open and write it without needing to have something to lean against. But this is going to be your tool that you are making and creating all semester. You are welcome to take your notes for class in here, as well as the things I tell you have to go in your field notebook. But I really recommend you keep everything nicely labeled and organized. It's really going to help you out. The second most important tool for this class are binoculars. You do not have to buy these. The biology department, because of this strange semester, was able to make a big purchase of binoculars for you to borrow for the semester. So each person will get their pair that they'll use. You won't share them, and you'll hold on to it until the end of the semester when you'll give them back. That being said, if you're serious, if you fall in love with birding, for instance, or if you already know that you really want to learn a lot about wildlife, go ahead and buy your own binoculars. They'll probably be better than the ones we have. Here's a really nice link to an article about some of the best budget binoculars for birding. This, depending on when you're watching this, Thursday, the 20, whatever that is, 27th, I think 27th, you will come to campus for the first time to pick up these binoculars. Binoculars actually take quite a bit of practice, and so I want you to have practice, have some experience using them before we go to the field for the first time. So the first week of classes, that Thursday, this is all also built into the course, but you'll see, come to campus to pick up your binoculars and to fill out your paperwork. Okay, there are no required textbooks for this class, but if you're serious about wildlife or you're really interested, I have some recommendations. So if you're only going to buy one thing, this is the one to get, the Kaufman Field Guide to the Nature of the Midwest. It's really handy. It's got plants as well as animals, lots of pictures. It's going to be really handy to have out there. with you. But if you're going to get really serious about birding or about herping is catching reptiles or amphibians, I have a couple specific guides for that. So this is my favorite herp guide. Mine has a ton of water damage because I use it a lot, but it's got a lot of information about the reptiles and amphibians of the area. The bird guide that has been recommended to me by most birders is the Sibley bird guide. It's big, it's a bulky book, but it has beautiful, beautiful illustrations, a ton of information, what the birds look like in flight as well as sitting. So if you're really excited about birds, this is the way to go. If you're new to birding, also this is a much thinner, kind of easy guide that you can just read cover to cover if you want. You can read certain chapters about birding basics. All of these guides are like pretty cheap, at least in textbook terms, right? The Sibley bird one, the really big one, is the most expensive, but they're still cheaper than your average textbook. So if you have the money and the interest, field guides are a great thing to invest in. Otherwise, in this class, we will be using primarily apps. So that's why I sent out that survey earlier this summer to ask about your technology, and it seemed like everybody had a smartphone, which is fantastic. So we can lean on the apps. Field guides are always good to have. You're not always gonna have signal. And I also have on the course module over here, if we go on the left, quick reference. These are a bunch of PDFs of basically miniature field guides. So these are quick references for looking up specific slugs or butterflies or whatever of a group of animals. You can find the PDF there. Okay, so let's talk about what being a hybrid course actually means. So in this class, we will be completely asynchronous, which means you can do all the readings, all the watching videos, all the watching lectures, anytime you want during the week it's assigned, except for our occasional in-person meeting. And these are every other week. You will sign up for a time slot and we'll meet roughly during class time on Thursdays, somewhere near NEIU. So the idea is you'll be able to walk from campus to all of these parks that we're going to go to. They're all like surrounding NEIU. We're really lucky to be in an area with lots of parks. And we'll meet there in small groups. So this class we're almost a full enrollment. We have nearly 24 students. We're going to be at a maximum of 6 students at a time for the field experiences in person. We also have to wear masks that whole time. So you'll sign up for I think they're 45-minute time slot. Come to campus, walk to wherever we're meeting in time to be there for the time slot with your mask and your field notebook and your field guides if you want, and your smartphone. And you'll have a guided experience walking through whatever ecosystem we've been learning about and looking for wildlife. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be abbreviated, a little bit shorter than I wish it could be because we need to be in these smaller groups. But that does mean that there's less in-person time than a typical lab would have. However, you're also free to go to all these areas anytime you want. If you want more time there, you're welcome to stay longer. Okay, so please email me if you have any questions about that. Those field experiences you can opt out of, and you should if you're feeling any symptoms of COVID-19, whatever. You'll read all that in the paperwork of how to deal with that. But you can choose to opt out of them if you're immunocompromised or something. Please do talk to me ahead of time and let me know so that I can account for that. All right, let's go on to the syllabus. These are the course objectives. You're going to learn how to recognize and use available tools to identify any bird, herp, insect, or mammal that you see in the Chicagoland area. You're going to learn to identify ecosystems and predict which species you're likely to encounter. That's going to be a lot of what we're learning about is the ecology of different species so you can understand what's around you. You're going to be able to explain how ecology and evolution affect where animals are and how they interact with their environment. And you're going to use best practices for keeping field notebooks. You're going to get really darn good at keeping a field notebook, which is literally one of the most valuable skills you can have as an ecologist or as a field biologist. I have here all your assignments broken down by points. I use the point-based system. I think it's just the most straightforward and the least confusing. You'll have some discussion posts. Other than the introductory one, which you'll do this week, the others can be done at any time throughout the semester. And I'll have periodic reminders to make sure you're keeping up on them. But we have this one really cool board called the brag board where you can post cool photos or tell us a story about some cool wildlife encounter you had, something neat for the rest of your classmates to see. And you need to do that 4 times during the semester. We also have a Help Me ID This board. So you have to do this at least, you have to post however often you want, but you have to help people ID at least twice. So that means in order for you to get help, for you to get points, you need to make sure that your classmates are posting, right? So all of this is in detail in the assignment sheet, but just a quick overview. You'll also have quizzes every week. These are open book, open note. You can use the notes you took. I just ask that you don't Google all these things. Like, that's not helping you learn. If you use your notes, you can figure out maybe what you missed and fix it. And we have species ID quizzes, and these are going to be a little bit more locked down because that's where I really want you to be learning what species look like and what they sound like. We'll talk more about that. You have some assignments. These are worth 25 points each, and these are split out throughout the semester. And then your field participation. So the weeks that we're not meeting in person to do these field experiences, you will be still doing backyard observations. So you'll be taking notes in your field notebook in your backyard. It doesn't have to be your actual yard. It can be a park near your house. It can be an alley behind your house. I don't care. Wherever you can see some nature and make observations. That's where you'll go for those backyard observations. And then the predictive lists, you'll be making these before every field experience for what you expect to see in that ecosystem, given what we've learned. And then lastly, field notebook checks. So I'm not gonna have you hand in your field notebooks. That would be way too cumbersome with COVID-19 and with the hybrid nature of the course. But you will be turning in photos of your field notebooks. So make sure that you're writing legibly and that you can take steady enough photos of the relevant pages to submit through the assignments portal on D2L. All right, so if all of that stuff ends up happening, which it should, barring anything major causing us to have to reschedule or rearrange the course, we should have 735 total points. And here's the breakdown for what you need to get each letter grade. Most of the assignments and the field notebook checks will have their own rubrics, so you can check it against before you turn it in and make sure that you're set to get all of your points. This is all the information about how often and in what manner you can expect to interact with me. In a normal semester, this would not be a thing I include in the syllabus. I just say, email me anytime and I'll see you in class twice a week, right? But obviously we can't do that. So you can expect at least weekly announcements from me. I check my email kind of obsessively. So you should expect a reply pretty quickly, barring holidays or weekends. But you should be able to hear back from me very fast. And that is the best way to get an answer to a question that you couldn't find the answer to in this syllabus. I will have these office hours on Mondays and Wednesdays from 11 to 1. Here again is that Google Meets link. You just click that. Make sure you're using your mail address when you do it. And I also have my cell phone at the top of the syllabus, my cell phone number. Please only use that if you're running late for your time slot for the in-person stuff, so I know to wait for you, or not if you can't make it at the last minute. Here's some information about feedback. I should have everything graded pretty quickly. Here's an absence policy. I will not be checking attendance. I'll see if you're not doing the weekly work because your quiz grades will be empty or low. And you are required to sign up for the field experiences. So your attendance is mandatory there if you're going to do it. And then we all have all the same academic integrity. You're bound by the NEIU Student Code of Conduct. And on top of that is all the COVID-19 Code of Conduct stuff, which I'll show you that paperwork in a minute. Here's our ADA statement, our link to campus safety, food or housing insecurity. If you're ever having trouble with those things, please contact me and or the Dean of Students, and we'll do what we can to help you. I know that this year is especially rough times in the pandemic. I don't know what everyone's going through, but if you're having difficulty getting enough food or with housing insecurity, please reach out. I understand also because of the pandemic, some people who are caregivers or parents are kind of on double duty trying to be students on top of doing that. In that case, please let me know if an assignment is going to be late as far ahead of time as you can, and I can accommodate that. If you don't let me know when you turn in an assignment late, there is a 10% deduction per day that it's late. So please just talk to me. And then here's the biology department incomplete grading policy. And then the most important page, I think, is this outline. So we're breaking down the semester into weeks because we're asynchronous except for the in-person stuff. You can work on this, the assignments for each week at any point during that week. The weeks are running from Saturday to Friday, and all the deadlines for the class are Friday, 11:59 p.m. All of them. So everything needs to be turned in for that week by 11:59 p.m. on Friday. And I don't do that because I want you to have to do all your work on a Friday. That's no fun. I want you to really space out your work during the week. If you work full-time during the week and you know you can't do classes then, this way you're able to do it on the weekend ahead of time, the Saturday or Sunday. So the week modules on the D2L course are open ahead of time, starting that Saturday, and I'm trying to stay a week ahead so you have everything well ahead if you need to work ahead because of your work schedule. So here for each week, we'll have an ecosystem focus, we'll have an organism focus, and then here's the field activities. So like I said, the weeks that we're not meeting in person, you will be doing backyard observations. So here, all the in-person activities that are on or near campus are purple. You'll notice our first one is going to be the Thursday of week 3, September 10th. I'll send you an email with exactly where to meet at North Park Village Nature Center, but you can just plan to getting to campus however you normally do and then walking there. Although I think North Park Nature Center has a parking lot. But however you want to get there, you can from campus. And then on our off weeks, you're doing these backyard observations. So note that this week, this Thursday, like I said, you're going to come to campus just to pick up your binoculars and to fill out the paperwork. We also have graded assignments. So again, always do Friday at 11:59. This says what you have to turn in by then. So for this week, it's just do the quiz, which means you need to watch the lecture, you need to do all the material that's under week 1 for that. Okay, if you have any questions about this schedule or anything, reach out to me. We have built-in Thanksgiving break. There is no final, but you will have one of your assignments due that last week, as well as your last notebook check. So again, everything should be here on the syllabus, but you can always reach out to me with questions. Okay, so now that you see what the syllabus looks like and what the layout of the course is, let me show you what the content is like. So you already saw week 0, that just has some of that paperwork. Actually, let's go look at the guidelines. So this is what you're going to be filling out when you do come to campus. So please read this ahead of time, if you can. These are the guidelines that have been laid out by the in-person committee for COVID-19 at NEIU. So you must follow all of these guidelines. A lot about wearing a mask when we're in person, making sure you don't have symptoms, not sharing writing utensils, for instance. So you'll note for the first week, I told you to bring your own writing utensil to fill this paperwork out. So these are just the guidelines. I'll have it printed for you. And then the student acknowledgement form, this is the part you'll actually fill out with your emergency contact info and your informed consent statement saying you understand that there's a risk to doing anything in person. Again, we'll be outside, we'll be wearing masks, and we'll be maintaining a 6-foot distance at almost all times. When we're close together, it'll be less than 10 minutes. That's all part of the built into the guidelines. Okay, so let's go see like what a more normal week will look like, right? So your first week, if you click on week 1 here, this will always start the Saturday before. Again, I wanted to open this ahead of time, so this is actually last Saturday. But and when you come to this page, what you'll see is an overview and a checklist. These have the exact same information. I know some people prefer just having something they can check off, and some people want to see this kind of more aesthetic, anecdotal layout. So let me show you what this looks like. So week 1 overview, if you click on that, it takes you to this page, shows you week 1, a little welcome from me, as well as some information to tell you what we're doing. And then the module specific learning objectives. So what we're going to be working on that week. Here we're reviewing some core biological concepts. We're going to learn about the natural features of Chicago. And then you're going to begin developing nature awareness and learning to use your tools. So here it says instructional materials. This is what you need to read and watch. And I tell you to that I recommend going in this order. So you're going to watch the first lecture. This will be linked for you. You're going to read this link, read this, watch this video about how to use the Seek app, and then you have a to-do section. You're going to fill out the introduce yourself discussion post, download Seek on your smartphone or mobile device, take the quiz, and then come to campus Thursday between 9:25 and 12:05, anytime in that time, to pick up your binoculars and fill out that paperwork. And I'll send an announcement specific about any of the in-person activities to remind everyone. Okay, so that's what the overview pages always look like. If we go back to week 1, the checklist page looks like this. So it's an actual checklist, and it's broken down by read, watch, and do, right? So it's, again, all the same material. That will be true for every week. But if you're someone who just really wants that physical, like checking something off, right, then you can do that. Even if you're going to use this checklist, I recommend you read the week 1 overview first, just because it has a little bit more of the order I want you to do things in, and it's just laid out more nicely. But these are always have the same information. I already told you the quick reference shows a bunch of PDFs of things to help you identify, little guides. So let's look at like this dragonfly damselfly one. Here we go. So lots of pictures, right? So you can quickly match something up against what you're seeing. You don't have to print these, you don't have to download these, but they're here if you need them. I also have a folder for lecture PDFs. These are the PDF versions of lectures that I'm giving via video. The videos will be posted, right? So if you want to print these out ahead of time before you watch the video, then you have something to take notes on, or you can just take notes in your field notebook, whatever you want. And then assignment sheets, you don't have to worry about this yet, but these are the assignments you'll be doing that are linked from those overview or checklist pages. All right, this is the assignments tab where you're going to submit everything. Here, these are already put in. Obviously, you shouldn't have submitted any of them, but they have the week that they're due here. And then quizzes, you can access through here if you want. They're also going to be linked through the overview or the checklist. And let's just take one last look at the discussions. So the first discussion post you'll do week 1 is your introductions. That's down here. I already did one, so you can get a sense of what that's like. And then we have our wildlife settings board, brag board, and the help me ID this. So this is where you'll post those things for them to count throughout the semester. All right, I think that is everything I wanted to share with you on the D2L course website. Please download that syllabus, read through it again thoroughly, and let me know if you have any questions. You can always reach out to me via email, and I will be fairly quick to respond. So I'm really looking forward to having you all in class this semester. I hope you learn a lot. I hope we have a lot of fun. I hope we see a lot of neat things that you didn't know were in Chicago. And I hope everyone stays safe. See you soon.